Hi, I'm Veronica and welcome to Jersey City Pilates. Today's class is quick, about 20 minutes, and we're gonna move in all different planes of motion. There'll be twisting, side bending, flexion, and extension, and you will need a dish towel, and we'll get started. You're gonna take your dish towel, reach it up overhead. Take a nice big inhale, feel your ribs separate from your hips, and then just take a nice side bend over to the right, having your ears be square in between your arms. Press down through that left, and then reach long, come all the way up to the top, and then up and over towards the left. Go down through that right foot, your hips still, and one more time up to the right, and over to the left. And then reach your arms up nice and tall. Your arms up nice and tall, and then press your arms down as you lift the crown of your head tall. Feel your shoulders engage on your back. Your shoulder blades are flat on your back. And then lift your arms back up. And then lower down. A couple more times just like this. Take a nice big inhale as you lift. Exhale as you lower. Inhale up. Feel and notice whether your ribs want to come away from your hips. And if they do, or regardless rather, draw your hip bones up towards your ribs and your ribs towards your hips so you're keeping connected to the front of your spine, body. This time you're gonna lift up, you're gonna pause. Bring your feet so that they're right underneath your hips if they weren't already, and then lower your arms, lift the right leg. Lift your arms, lower your right leg, and then back up. The arms are moving with the legs. We can do this on our backs as well. It's the same motion. So think that your pelvis is in a neutral position. If you were laying on the floor, you'd have a little bit of space underneath your low back. Last one. Sacrum would be heavy. And then switch sides. And down. 8 more. Trying to minimize that weight shift. Keeping the connection between your right and left leg. Giving a little tug on that towel. 3 more. 2. Last one, lower your legs. Roll yourself down. Reach the towel along the front of your legs. Head is nice and heavy, neck is long. And then pull the towel apart at the bottom. Soften your knees just a little and then roll yourself up one vertebrae at a time, keeping those wrists straight, and then reach the arms up and then reach them overhead. Just like you'd be doing a roll down on the mat. Nod your chin, round those shoulders forward, and then lower all the way down over your legs. And feel yourself all the way back up, one vertebrae at a time, and stack your spine. Last one just like this. This time, as you come up, you're going to feel your ribs and hips connect in the front of your body. And you're gonna rotate over towards the right, just from the ribs, and then come to the center. And then over to the left, shortening that distance between your rib cage and your hips on one side and lengthening it on the other, reaching back behind you with your sitting bones. Good. If you have a tight low back like me, be getting a nice little stretch in your QL. One more time to each side. Your abdominals are working here. You're not just hanging, you're supported in the air. And roll yourself all the way back up, one vertebrae at a time. And then leave your mat, or your towel rather, off to the side, and you're gonna come down onto all fours. Have your knees right underneath your shoulders, your hands right underneath your knees under your hips, arms under your elbows, arms under your shoulders. And then tuck your tailbone under, really round through your low back, and then round up through your spine. And then let your head go. Think more about having an even arc rather than pressing yourself all the way up towards the ceiling. You really want to make sure that you're rounded through the whole low back as well. And then untuck your spine and lift your chest. And then round yourself under. Drop the head. And then back around. One more time, just like this. Tuck the tailbone under, round, ribs drop towards your hips. To that extension, keeping supported through the front of your body. Find a nice neutral. Your neck is nice and long. And then you're just gonna round back slightly, press your hips towards your heels, and then come around and then over your wrists and back down. Really think about rounding the low back, drawing the ribs towards the hips. Your abdominals will come away from your legs slightly as you come back. Last one. So you're not quite in a child's pose. You're like in a weird little scared cat. Good. 2 more to the left. And then find your space in the center and extend your left leg back behind you. You're gonna float that leg up and then bend it underneath you. Round your spine. And extend it long and round. And extend. Ribs drawing toward your hips. Your abdominals are supporting your back. A little extra weight. You need to be in your right hand to keep your hips nice and square. Last one. Round. And bring it back underneath you. Extend the left leg. Same thing. Round through the low back. Draw the knee in and extend, opening up through the front of that hip. Round. And extend. If rounding doesn't work for you, you're just going to stay in a neutral pelvis, keeping your head lifted and just bend and straighten the knee. All the same. Last one. And extend, bring it back underneath you. And then from here, you're going to tuck your toes under and you're going to come up into a little bear plank. So you're in a, don't do what I just did. So don't let your stomach drop towards the floor. Think about lengthening through the sitting bones, lengthening through the low back, and then lifting your knees up so you're in a nice supported neutral pelvis here. And then shift your weight back onto your heels, knees stay lifted, and then come back. Shift your weight back and forward over your arms. And back. And over your arms. 3 more. 2. Last one. Pause here. Hold for 10. 9. Breathing laterally. 7. 6. 5. Neck is long. Tailbone is long. 3. 2. Last one. Lower your knees down nice and wide, wider than your hips. And then reach your arms long away from you and lower yourself down into a child's pose. And take a few deep breaths here. Again, focusing on your breath, thinking about expanding your ribs laterally to the side. And then drawing your ribs towards one another as they come in. As you exhale, rather. And now as you're breathing like that, think about as you draw your ribs together, the muscles underneath your armpits and around your shoulder blades are helping to wrap all of that together in front. Your abdominals will draw up towards your ribs as well to keep that connection and keep you supported. Now, just one more thing here in this child's pose. You're gonna think that someone's hand is on your spine around your shoulder blades, gently pressing down and away towards your head, while the other hand is on your sacrum, pressing down towards the floor, creating length and opposition in your spine. And then you're gonna come all the way back up into your all fours position. Tuck one toe under, and then the other, find a nice plank here. Ribs are drawing towards your hips, your chest is open, your neck is nice and long. Drop the knees, uncurl the toes, and then slowly lower all the way down towards the floor. From here, you're gonna lift your chest and neck. Your pelvis is pressing into the floor, and then lower back down. You can leave your hands where they are, or you can put your forearms on the ground, your choice. And you're going to press the pelvis into the ground, draw your ribs towards your hips, find length in that low back, and then float your torso up. Arms can stay down, but light, you're not pressing into them. And then lower back down. A few more like this. And lower back down. 3 more. Back is on. So don't let your gaze be straight ahead of you. You don't want to look up with your head. You want to think that you have a little string in that head. Lift along with your spine. Can you gaze on the ground in front of you rather than straight ahead? Last one. Good, and now lower all the way down. Create a little pillow for your forehead with your hands. And you're gonna rest your head on your forehead rather, looking straight down at the floor. So you're going to extend your right leg so long that it starts to float off the floor. Your hips are still evenly pressing into the ground. Your glute, your hamstring, and everything is helping lift that leg up, and then you're gonna float it back down. We're gonna stay on the left side, float that leg up, and back down. One more. 3. Hips and pelvis into your bone, press into the neck. Last one, pause with this leg lifted. Bend at the knee, just a little. Reach the knee away from you, and then extend the leg, thinking about lifting up the back of the knee ever so slightly to do so. Bend the knee in, the foot in rather, and then lift and extend. 4 more. 3. 2. This can be done with a flex foot if you prefer. Last one. And then extend that leg nice and long and then lower it down. Just notice maybe your right leg is feeling a little longer than your left now. And same thing, switching over to the left side. So extend that leg, keep it long, and then just float it back down. And then lift and extend. Check your hips, make sure that your right hip isn't starting to lift off the mat. You're nice and stable. Three more. 2, lengthen through that low back. Ribs draw towards each other and towards your hips. Supported. Good. Leave it lifted here. Bend at the knee. Lengthen through the front of the leg. Reach the knee away and then extend the leg long by lifting through the back of the leg. And then bend. And extend. 4 more. 2. Last one. And then extend the legs long. Bring the arms back underneath you. Lift the arms, lift the legs, lift the chest. Lower the legs down, press into your hands, leave your knees on the floor. Lift up. Good. Find a nice kneeling plank position here. Tuck your tailbone under. You're going to slowly, lower all the way down to the floor. And then lift the arms, lift the leg, lift the chest into extension. Ribs draw in, lower everything down. Press back up. And then again, lower down nice and slow. Neck is long. Lift everything up. 3 more just like this. Find that length in your push-up. And then again, through the front and back of your body as you lift into extension. 2 more. Last one. Make this one your best extension yet. Lower down. Lift all the way up. Tuck your toes under and press yourself back into a downward dog. Shake your head yes and no. Bend your knees. Whatever kind of downward dog feels good for you. And then you're going to roll all the way back forward into a plank. Point your toes, shift forward over your arms, and then flex and come back. Point and move forward, flex and back. You can also do this on your forearms or on your knees, or you're gonna come back over your hips and back forward. Regardless of what variation you're doing, you really wanna think about that connection through the front of your body. 3 more. 2. Last one. Rock the knees. And then sit back into a child's pose for just a moment. And then grab onto your towel and we're gonna come to sit at the top of our mats. Grabbing onto your towel, move the fleshy part of your butt out of the way so that you're truly rooted down into the floor. Extend your arms long and then extend one leg long at a time. Sitting up as tall as you can, bend the knees again if you need to sit up tall. Pull the towel apart, roll back one vertebrae at a time. Think about keeping your head nice and tall, and just your sacrum is starting to move down, opening through the front of the hips, and then lengthen back overhead. Then reach the arms forward, curl the head, neck, and shoulders up, just like we were doing standing before, and roll forward, round over your legs. Roll yourself back, one vertebrae at a time, ribs towards your hips, really round through the low back, through the low back, through the low back, and then reach overhead. And reach forward, chin is lifted off of the chest, you don't want it to be pressing. Think almost about like holding a little orange there for some space. That'll help keep your neck nice and long as well. And then pause here. Bring your knees into your body, bend them and place them on the floor, and then bring your right leg into tabletop. And then you're gonna extend your right leg long, arms stay still, and then resist, bring it back in. Ideally, you're in a neutral position here, but if it's more comfortable for your body, extend and bend the leg, staying in a nice scoop. Either way, your ribs are drawing toward your hips. Actually, I'm gonna go with the scoop because this feels better on my back right now. You can also lift the head if you need, or you can bring your towel behind your head for this. All right, and now extend the arms overhead as you extend the legs, and then bring them back in. And then extend, and bring it back in. 4 more. Thinking like you have a rubber band on the back of that leg, moving slowly with resistance and control. Ribs stay glued to the mat on the back. Back ribs better. Front ribs are heavy. And then lower down, switching sides. Arms stay still, just that left leg moves now. Check in on your hips, make sure after that transfer, things haven't changed. Keeping your pelvis nice and still. 5 more like that. 4. You can lift your head for a second to check on your hips to make sure that they're still square. Last one like this. Bend it in. Arms and legs extend together. Resist and come in. Wrists are long. You can also extend your fingers on your towel too. That is comfortable and helps keep your wrists nice and strong. Check in on your back ribs. And your right leg. Make sure it's not hanging out to the side. Last one. Keep the left leg where it is. Bring the right leg to meet it. Lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Extend the arms, extend the legs. Bring it back in. Your legs can stay parallel and apart, or glue them all the way together and pretend like you only have one leg. And extend. 3 more. Last one. Bring it in, grab onto your shins with the towel or your knees, whatever feels good, and just pull those legs in. And then lift yourself up a little, let the towel come underneath your knees. And then you're gonna hold on. You're gonna hold on to the towel, press your thighs into it, and then bend yourself. Bend your knees and place them on the floor. You're gonna reach up and you're gonna grab for that towel. Hold your knees in towards your chest. Press your thighs into the towel and let it rock you up, supporting your legs with the towel. And then bend the knees and rock back nice and slowly with control. Lower the knees down, extend the arms, lower the head. Reach long through the head, through the arms rather. Grab onto that towel, draw the knees in. Press the thighs into the towel as you extend your arms a little, or rather bend your arms a little, and lift into a little supported teaser here. One more time, bend the knees, round back. Lower the legs from the thighs as you're lifted, and then lower the head last time. Lift the head, round up, bring the knees into your chest. Grab onto the towel, press the thighs into the towel, lift. Drop the towel. Bend your arms long, round all the way back, one vertebrae at a time. Keep your shoulders lifted, bend the knees in, bring your hands behind your head, and then rotate from one side to the other. In a little crisscross here, opposite rib to opposite hip, shoulder blades are lifted off the mat, low back presses into the ground for 4, 3, 2, last one, the center, reach the towel on the ground. Reach it up the back of your thighs, reach it down. Lift it up, lower down for 8, 7, shoulder blades off the floor if you can, 5, 4, 3, 2, as you press down, feel your abdominals deepen. Last one, lower the right leg down, lower the left leg, reach long towards your shins, drop the towel, and then lower all the way down. And then externally rotate your arms and place your arms on the floor. Your collarbone is nice and open. You're just gonna roll your hands over so your hands press down. Curl your tailbone under. Draw your hips up towards your ribs. Press your feet into the floor. Your knees are in line with your hips. And lift all the way up one vertebrae. And then slowly peel your spine all the way back down. And then back up. And if you have a ponytail, make sure your head is flat on the floor so you're not tweaking your neck any weird way. Really draw your heels toward your shoulders. Pause at the top. You're going to find your neutral pelvis. Tuck it under and find your little scoop. Find your neutral and your scoop. Neutral. Drawing your sitting bones up the backs of your legs, narrowing them, and then widening them into that neutral. Also think about this in front of the body with the hips. Just moving your pelvis, nothing else. 2 more. Last one. Tuck it under. Find that space where it's comfortable, where you can hold this for a moment. You're gonna let your just right leg externally rotate and fall out to the right side. Your hips stay square, in line with both your ribs, and then like square in space. You're not dipping the right hip, and then really resist to bring that leg back in. Your left leg doesn't move. You can roll all the way onto the outside of that right foot if it feels good, or you can just do it little and only lift the, big toe or second toe as well. Using your upper body helps stabilize you. You relax and open through the collarbones. 2 more. Last one. And pause at the top. Right leg stays in line with that right side. And then let that left leg fall out to the side, externally rotating. Check in on your hips, make sure that they're doing the same thing that they were doing on the right, which is not moving. And if it isn't too high the height you're at, you can also do this much, much, much lower off the ground, or with your hips completely on the ground. 3 more. 2. Last one, pause at the top. All right, both legs are gonna come out to the side. Hips stay still in space. You can come all the way onto the outside of your hips, whatever feels good. You still want to remain supported through those outer thighs. To come back in, your inner thighs are going to drop in towards the center of your body, in towards your pelvis, and your pelvic floor is going to draw in. Your ribs and hips are supporting your back, your abdominal connection through that sensation is supporting your back, and your upper body is relaxed. Good, and you may feel it's a lot on the outside of your glutes, to try to get it on the inside of your pelvis as well. The thighs connecting in towards the inner. 5 more, nice and slow. Use that pelvic floor at the top, think about drawing it in and up, but not squeezing your butt. Very important. Last one. And then slowly peel yourself down one vertebrae at a time. And then bring your knees into your chest and gently rock back and forth from one side to the other. Go ahead and extend your legs long, reach your arms up overhead. You're gonna peel yourself up one vertebrae at a time, round over your legs. Move your towel out of the way for a moment. And then you're just gonna grab your heels in towards your butt. Resting here, find that spot where you can hover. Heels stay connected to your butt, as in they don't change the direction. Pull yourself into that little ball. Draw your ribs towards your hips. Round through the low back, round your sacrum as you breathe, and then pause at the top. Use your breath to help get you up and then to pause. Don't roll onto your neck or your head. You're only going back to the shoulders. One more time. Pause here. Plant the feet. Press forward over your legs. Come into a weird little squat at the top of your mat. If you have your heels on the mat, cool. If you don't, cool. Just think about length through that body. As you start to lift, think about lifting the sitting bones up. Grab your towel if it's close to you. Extend your arms long towards the floor. Pull that towel away. Shake your head, yes and no, right and left, and then pull it apart as you roll up one vertebrae at a time. And then pause at the top. You're gonna take your towel, place it behind your head. Bend your knees. Think about lengthening through the top of your head by lifting the base of your skull with the towel. Extend long. Lengthen your tailbone away from the crown of your head with your knees bent as you hinge forward, and then come all the way back up. Hinge forward. Ribs are connected towards your hips in the front of your body. 3 more. Getting a little hamstring stretch here. Last one, you're gonna pause here. And then think about lifting, not straightening your legs, but lifting the sitting bones, drawing the ribs and hips in, drawing your ribs towards one another, and then the crown of your head just lengthening like 1.5 miles in the other direction. Good. From here, bring your arms around, nod your chin, and then roll all the way down, only changing your back, not your legs or your sitting bones. Don't eat your shirt. And then pull the towel apart, keep the legs still, draw the ribs towards the hips, feel your spine all the way up, keeping your legs nice and strong. Let your head find its place on top of your spine, lift your arms up, side bend up and over to the right. And then to the top, and over to the left. To the center, one more time each side. Anchor down through that left leg as you go to the right. In the other direction. And then pause here. Let your shoulders come up toward your ears. Reach up nice and tall with your fingertips. Lift up onto your toes. Keep your hands and head where they are. Think about lowering your heels nice and slowly. Ribs are connected toward your hips. Knees are soft. Arms pressed down in front of you. One vertebrae, 1 second at a time, not one vertebrae. Lower your arms down, and you are all finished. Thanks.